Hello and welcome to Trash to Track. Now in this episode I'm going to be looking at this Class 20 that's been sent to me by Lee, whose Rail Freight 47 we looked at a couple of weeks ago. Now Class 20 is one of my favourite diesels and they have got some longevity to them. Next year they're going to be 70 years old, but they still put in a good day's work, and I've got some clips now of them running past me at work. The green 20 you saw in that footage is actually the oldest mainline registered operational locomotive in the country. So going back to Lee's model, this is 2132 in Rail Freight Red Stripe. Now Lee sent this to me as a non-runner, he needs it repairing and rebuilt. And it wasn't until I put it on the test track to do a battery test on it that I realised that it's actually freewheeling. There's either no motor, no worm gears, or both in this model. Putting the battery on it, there's no motor whirl, so I think this is a shell. Now, at this point, I hadn't looked in the bottom of the box he sent it in, but when I take the body shell off, to do this on a Bachmann Class 20, there's a screw in each end, one under the cab and one under the nose, and then the body shell will lift off, and it is actually an empty shell. There's no motor or anything in there at all, everything's been ripped out. So it's no real surprise that it wasn't running. So everything is missing, but like I said, there is in the box, there is this bundle of bubble wrap, and in here I find all the bits I need to rebuild it. There's the motor, the worm gears, drive shafts, screws, and the DCC decoder along with the PCB. So hopefully everything's here to get this 20 back into service. Now, I am going to do a bit more disassembly. I'm going to unclip the bogie frames to get access to the wheels and the drivetrain, and I just put a pair of pliers in there, just unclip it and off it pops like that. The wheels have proper bearings which clip into the plastic bogie frames, and using a cotton bud with some contact cleaner on it, I'm going to clean the wheels, the wheel backs and the pickups, because I don't know when this model was last serviced, so I'm going to do a thorough job on it. The wheels and the pickups were actually really clean, to be fair. There was just a little bit of old lubrication in the drivetrain, but I cleaned all the old sticky lubrication out. You can see now I've done the other bogie as well. And then to put the wheels back in, you have to, these bearings on the axles clip into the plastic frame like so, and that will allow the axle gears to engage with the drivetrain. Just push the pickups inwards to make sure that you don't catch them and bend them out of place. And the wheels just clip in like that. Now once the wheels are in place, add a small amount of oil onto the axles where those bearings are. And then some Labelle 106 grease is put onto the drivetrain, so that the model is fully lubricated and correctly lubricated for when we put the bogie frames back on. So these just clip in, you engage the two lugs at the front and then it just clips in over the back. There we go. And then the other bogie was done in exactly the same manner, making sure those pickups clip in behind the wheels. And just running it backwards and forwards there, it gets that lubrication spread through the drivetrain. Now, I'm going to put the motor in. Now, I'm just also going to make sure that everything is in these bags. Those are brand new drive shafts and worm gears. Well, I'm not going to use them. I am going to use the originals. And the originals are held in place with these keeper plates, and they go on the ends of the 20 like that and engage with that big gear. So that's all correct. Now I'm going to get the motor, like I said. I'll test this with a battery to make sure it's actually working. Now when you put the motor back in, the motor cradle has one large aperture and one thinner one. And on the motor, there's a large clip and a small clip. And you have to make sure the motor goes in the correct way. If you try and force it in the wrong way, you will end up breaking the motor mount. So like I said, I'm going to test it with a battery and just put in some leads to the motor. You can see there it's spinning nicely. These motors are pretty robust and reliable. And then making sure it's the correct way, orientated like that, I just push it down and it should just clip fit back into the, there we go, back into the motor frame. So that's the motor reinstalled and it's turning nice and freely. So I've got some blue cloth and I'm going to give these worm gears a good douse with some contact cleaner because there is a little bit of old grease that's solidifying on there. So I'm going to clean all that off, clean the end bearings, put fresh lubrication on. You can see all that old, look at that, it's like earwax, horrible. So once it's all clean, like I was saying, I'll correctly lubricate it up with some Labelle 106 grease and some oil. These just unclip. It's get my teeth in. It's relatively easy to work on. Inside here, underneath the worm gear, was one of the motor retaining clips. So I'm glad I took that apart. But again, cotton bud and some contact cleaner, and you can see that old thick grease coming off there. That is rank. But it cleans off easy enough. The contact cleaner does seem to cut through it really, really well. I also clean the ends of the worm shaft there where the bearing goes, because that's where the grease is likely to solidify and cause problems with running, as you've seen me doing some of these trash to tracks in the past. And then the bearings just clip back into that keeper bit, and that's ready to go back onto the model. So I'm going to place a little bit of oil on those bearings so that it doesn't seize up, and a little bit of oil on the worm gear itself. And then before I put it on, a little bit of Labelle 106 on that large gear in the bogey tower. A little bit of this white PTFE grease on the end of the drive shaft. And then that will mate in with the drive shaft cup that's in that flywheel when I can orientate it correctly. So that pushes in, and then there are 4 screws to put in the top to hold that keeper plate back in place. Just using my tweezers there to manipulate the drive shaft back into that drive shaft cup. And then, like I said, these 4 silver screws go in. And at the other end, the other bogey tower is done in exactly the same manner. And then we will wire it up and we should be good to go. Now, I'm glad I didn't test this now, because can anybody see the issue with this model as it sits? I'll be surprised if you can see it, because I nearly missed it. There is a tiny screw there, look, right on the coils. So if I'd have tried to run that model, that could have got in there and ruined that motor. So I turn it with my fingers. Now I'm not sure if that was in there after I'd reassembled it or from the bag, but it's lucky it didn't cause any damage. The small PCB goes on the end, on the nose end of the chassis, not the cab end. And I've wired the motor wires up into their correct positions, and I'm now going to fix the PCB onto the die-cast chassis using the 2 screws. And then I'm going to solder the pickup wires to both the tabs. Originally these would have been push fit and held in place with those black plastic sleeves, but for reliability I'm going to actually solder the pickup wires to the tabs. And then we'll put the blanking plate in, and this model should fire into life. Now everything's been soldered together. I'll tidy the wires up later on. I'll put the blanking plate in. And we should be good to go. However, when I put it on the track and do a battery test, the model is completely dead. It's not working at all. Now, we saw the motor actually worked, so there's a problem between the track pickups and the motor. So I'm trying to get it to go there. There's no heat coming off the PCB or the battery. And when power is applied direct to the motor terminals, the motor is spinning. So there is a problem between the track and the motor. So I'm just testing it here with the leads off the battery terminal. And I can't get it to go. It will not go at all. So I turn it round, test the other side with one wire on the brush terminal and one on the rail. Nothing at all. It is dead. So something's amiss, and I've got my ideas that it could be the PCB, because it's wired up correctly, because it's not showing up on as a short circuit on my voltmeter. So I test everything. I even test it through the pins on the DCC socket. Now, if this was working, it would spark into life, but there's absolutely nothing. So I think that PCB is a dud. So I'm going to take the PCB off. And what I've done here is I've actually taken the motor wires off the PCB, soldered them directly to the pickup wires, and you can see the model is now running without a blanking plate. So there is definitely something wrong with that PCB. So I'm going to take that off and I'm going to hardwire the model. It's an easy enough job. The red and black wires off the decoder are track pickup, and orange and grey wires go to the motor terminals. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to unscrew this PCB and get rid of it. There's obviously something wrong. One of the components or one of the links on it is broken, but it wasn't emanating any heat or white smoke or anything. So it's just probably damaged in some other way. So now we've jumped forward half an hour and I've wired the decoder up. You can see it's at the front of the model there with black tack. I've put some tape over the wire runs, but this thing here is no good. I'll put that in the bin. I think it might be the terminals themselves. It looks like there's some heat damage on there. But everything's wired up now. The wires are all nice and tidy. And hopefully now when I test the chassis, it will work, which indeed it does. So the chassis is now fully working, fully rebuilt. And I'm pretty pleased we've been able to reactivate this. And I'm also pleased that Lee managed to strip this model down and not lose any parts. So the last thing to do is to put the body shell back on, and this just clips over everything, pushes down into place, and then we replace those two screws we took out at the start, one under the nose bonnet and one under the cab. And then once I've put the screws in, I will just test it with the battery again to make sure that no wires got snagged or anything. And that is Lee's Class 20 pretty much rebuilt and reactivated to the track. And it's running absolutely lovely, as you can see, while it's being bench tested. Now, as I said at the start, I like Class 20s. They're one of my favourite class of loco. And these Bachmann Class 20s that date from around 2005 onwards are really nice models. I've got about 7 pairs in my own fleet. And they look like Class 20s and they run absolutely superbly. And they're relatively easy to work on, as I've just demonstrated, hopefully, in this video. If you've got an engine or anything you'd like to see repaired, repainted, DCC fitted, please email me at dansmodelrailways@gmail.com. Have a look at getting it sent over. Who knows, it may even feature in an episode all of its own. So I'll leave you now with Lee's Class 20 running around with one of my own on the layout on a short speedlink freight. And I'd like to thank you all for watching Trash to Track, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.